Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown, Alton Sterling, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor. These are just a portion of names of the innocent men and women who were unjustifiably murdered by police. Discrimination amongst minorities is something that has been going on for as long as I can remember, and it is an issue that is still going on today. People are still fighting for equality. So I'm going to inform you about an powerful movement that was the result of all of these killings, called the Black Lives Matter movement. I would first like to talk to you about police brutality. In an article written by Leo Moore titled Police Brutality in the United States, he defines police brutality as unwarranted and excessive illegal force against a civilian. He says that anything from battery, mayhem, torture, and even murder are all forms of police brutality. Civilians of all races, ethnicities, ages, class, and genders are subject to police brutality. However, African Americans are amongst the most targeted group of police brutality in the United States. I will now talk to you about the case that ignited this powerful movement, the case of Trayvon Martin. According to a CNN report, Trayvon Martin was walking home one day when former neighborhood watch captain George Zimmerman called 911 to report a suspicious person. George was ordered not to exit his vehicle. However, he disregarded orders and approached Martin. Shortly after, the two had an altercation which resulted in Martin's death. The 17-year-old was shot and killed without having any weapons of his own. In 2013, George Zimmerman was acquitted of all charges, which led to Alicia Garza, Patrisse Cullors, Opal Tometi to create the Black Lives Matter movement. A common misconception of the Black Lives Matter movement is its term. A lot of people would like to argue that it should be All Lives Matter. However, I'm going to share with you an analogy that helped me understand. Here we see two houses, one that is burning and one that is not. So everyone is obviously going to choose to help the house that is burning. This does not mean that the other house matters any less. This just means that the one that is burning obviously needs more help. So yes, all lives do matter. However, in the eyes of the government and the police, it is often seemed that only white lives matter. So we're going to choose to help the community that needs more help. Black Americans are being shot on the street, they're being shot in their cars, and even in their own homes. So the All Lives Matter term will not be justified until it is proven that the lives of Black Americans matter as well. By 2020, after the killing of George Floyd, the Black Lives Matter movement became worldwide. In an article by New York Times written by Larry Buchman, he states that about 15 to 26 million people participated in these protests. He says that the age group of these protesters were anywhere under 35 years old, and that there was about 140 protests a day, in which 93% of these started off peaceful. This movement obviously had both positive and negative effects. In the same article, we learned that Mississippi lawmakers voted to retire its state flags as it included Confederate battled emblems. Cities and states across the country have banned chokeholds, and police disciplinary records are no longer kept secret. In the Black Lives Matter protest, we learned that over $90 million was raised. This helped cover bailouts, support for families of those killed by police, any materials for protests, and food and water for events. Unfortunately, though, as you may know, a lot of these protests did turn out violent. We see that police were shooting rubber bullets at protesters, pushing them on the street, spraying pepper spray, and in some instances, we even see police cars running over protesters on the street. In these protests, at least 25 people lost their life. I would like to quickly discuss the rise of the Capitol versus the Black Lives Matter protests at the White House. On January 6, 2021, an angry mob of Trump supporters raided the Capitol in hopes to overturn an election in which former President Donald Trump falsely said was stolen from him. On June 1st, 2020, a similar size gathered outside to protest the killing of George Floyd. They were trying to seek justice. They pled for an ending to police brutality and pled for equality. However, federal agents were so quick to send them off running by releasing a lot of chemical agents at them and shooting them with rubber bullets. At the riots, we see federal agents, instead of shooting them off with rubber bullets, they walked down, these rioters, down the stairs. And a lot of people will argue that if the Black Lives Matter protesters went to the Capitol that same day, they would have been treated so much more different than the Trump supporters were. Now let's review. Police brutality against the Black community ignited this powerful movement. Alicia and Patrice and Opal will forever be recognized for the amazing organization and movement that they have created. A number of police officers have been charged for their crimes. Departments of police are no longer authorized to carry any military weapons. And there's an increase in body cameras for police. The Black Lives Matter movement is said to be one of the largest movements in U.S. history. People of color have been treated unfairly for as long as I can remember. From slavery to segregation, and now they're still being discriminated. It is inhumane to feel someone feel less about themselves for something they cannot control, the color of their skin. So I hope that you leave here feeling empowered about the amazing movement that you just learned about. It is time for equality, and it is time for change. Thank you.